Hello everyone, today I want to go through how scarce is Bitcoin. My name is Jutan Al Ahmed, as you all know, and if you don't, please do consider subscribing to my channel so you do know who I am. Lol. Anyways, let's begin. I found an interesting website, right? It's called How Scarce is Bitcoin. I went through it. It's really, really good, actually. I'll put the link in the description below. It literally is howscarceisbitcoin.com. But let's go through this because I think this will be a bit of a fun video just to see how scarce Bitcoin actually is. Anywho, let's visualize what 21 million Bitcoin means. The price here is showing around $115,000 per Bitcoin. Depending on when I upload this and stuff, that might fluctuate. But let's say on the basis of $115,000 per Bitcoin, how scarce is Bitcoin? Okay, let's go down. Current Bitcoin distribution. As of 2025, here's how the 21 million Bitcoin currently distributed. So 69.4% are held by individuals. That's 14.57 million Bitcoin. 7.5 million are lost. So apparently 1.58 million Bitcoins apparently lost. I thought the figures were around 4 to 6 million Bitcoin. There were some places I got those stats from. I'll need to reassess that and re-understand. But basically here it's saying 1.58. It's probably more accurate because the guy's created a website, or the woman has created a website dedicated to how scarce is Bitcoin, right? 13.2% are held on exchanges, which is 2.77 million Bitcoin. Now, this is something that's been decreasing. If you've been watching my my DCA video, I do go through CoinGlass, and sometimes I show the fact that Bitcoin, the exchanges, the amount of Bitcoin is decreasing. So that's slowly decreasing over time, which is good. That just shows how scarce Bitcoin actually is. It is held by miners 0.88 million, and yet to be mined 1.2 million. So that 1.2 million Bitcoin is going to be mined by 2140. If you didn't know, there's basically Bitcoin's going to be fully mined by 2140, and that's when Bitcoin's fully adopted. There's 21 million coins in circulation. Right now there isn't. There's 1.2 million that still isn't in circulation. Anywho, that's interesting, right? Those stats there. Quite a lot of them are in the individual level. What does that mean? I don't want to make this a huge long video, but the thing is, I might even make this a series because statistically, if you think about it, if 69.4 are held at individual levels, corporations want to buy in, governments want to buy in, sovereign funds want to come in, right? Right now, it's with the people. 69.4% are just individuals, people, right? Not entities which want to purchase this and will want to, especially with the strategic Bitcoin reserve and stuff like this that's coming in, or that is already in. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about wealth transfer. In my other content, I always talk about wealth transfer and the fact that money is coming in, and the old money is we're taking the old money basically. Now, this is what's happening. Individuals, if they let go of their Bitcoin, they're selling it to the old money, right? And the old money is trying to buy Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin is the best performing asset since the last 16 years. And obviously everybody wants a piece of that. Anywho, let's go down. What if we try to distribute Bitcoin equally? Bitcoin versus the world population. There are approximately 8 billion people in the world. If Bitcoin was distributed equally to everyone, 21 million divided by 8 billion, so that's around, I think there's 8.1 billion. But 263,000 sats is basically what they'll get per person. So if you basically own 1 million sats, you basically own 4 people's rights, right? 4 people's worth of Bitcoin. Let's think about this. There's trillions of dollars in the world right now, right? The poor only own a fraction. That's where the saying of 99% of the wealth is owned by the super wealthy comes in. Because 99% of the wealth is owned by the super wealthy, the 1% is everybody else. So if you look at this statistically, per person should have 263,000 sats if equally given out. Now, if you look at the trillions that they are, if it was equally given out, obviously I haven't done the math of this, but it would be a much more than how much you have in your bank balance, basically. Let's put it that way, right? So even if you just bought 263,000 sats, that's you set. That's crazy, and that'll only decrease because don't forget this is if 21 million is divided by the 8 billion. There isn't 21 million. As we just saw up here, there's only 14.57 million because the rest, 1.58 you have to delete, right? That leaves around 19.5 million left. Then held on exchanges, all the other companies and stuff, they own the rest. So there's only really 14.57 million that could have been distributed because once a company owns it, they're never going to sell it. Like Michael Saylor at MicroStrategy or Strategy is planning not to ever sell Bitcoin, right? We don't know what's going to happen in the next 100, 200 years because we're going to be dead. But realistically, it's just going to decrease. So by then, it might be like, oh, per person with whatever Bitcoin there is right now, you can only own 20,000 sats. That 20,000 sats might be worth some ridiculous amount because of hyperinflation. I don't know. Let's be silly here. Or am I being silly here because there is no top, right? 20,000 sats might be even worth 20 million. But I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about 200-300 years down the line. So this is why it becomes generational wealth, okay? Because if you're passing this down for generations, and I say if only because we don't know what's going to really happen in the world, but if Bitcoin is the dominant money, well, you're owning the scarcest asset in the world. And that's what this website is, lol. Anyways, 0.263 thousand, 263,000 sats per person. So 1 Bitcoin equals 380 people's portion. I think, by the way, look, can see it just updated because Bitcoin's price has shot up a bit from 1K. So it's actually live. It updates it live, which means you can just use this website and just keep going on it whenever. Let's see when Bitcoin's around $500,000 or something, what it's like. Anyways, 1 Bitcoin, it's roughly around 380 people's portion. What if only millionaires wanted Bitcoin? Well, there's quite a few multimillionaires around the world, around 70 million or something like that, globally. I'll put that on my other video regarding the DCA. I said this stat. Oh, there, lol. It's written here, 70 million. I should read, right? There are approximately 60 million millionaires in the world. If every millionaire wanted an equal share, 21 million divided by 60 million millionaires, 0.35 Bitcoin is what the millionaires can own. I need you to understand the comprehension of this. The 60 million millionaires, if each one of them wanted 1 Bitcoin, only one, they can't get it because there's 21 million Bitcoin, there's 60 million millionaires. So they could only own 0.35, 35 million sats. That's it. And that'll decrease over time. As Bitcoin increases in price, that'll decrease over time. It's just amazing how the mathematics works. So you really need to sit down and try and understand the math of this. It makes me buzz. I love this. I'm so, you probably already know, I'm so passionate about this and everything. Yeah, anywho. Not even half a Bitcoin per millionaire. And that's just assuming Bitcoin is available, which it isn't. Okay? Because as you can see, 2.7 million is all that's on exchanges, right? And if the 14.57 million sell, yeah, then it'll be available. But why would you do that? What do the rich do? They put their assets as collateral, right? I don't obviously agree with interest and this and that. This is my religious beliefs and stuff. But basically, for collateral, you can even do that, I believe, legally in my religious perspective, in the sense that I give you a specific amount back. Okay, there is no interest base, which means I would never need to sell my asset, right? I'll just leave it as collateral, which is something that can be done. Anywho, not even now. Okay, but what about other types of entities? Let's look at countries and businesses that hold Bitcoin. Bitcoin versus governments. Okay, there are 195 countries in the world, but only a handful of governments have officially reported Bitcoin holdings. 21 million divided by 195 countries equals 107,692 Bitcoin per country. That's how much they can own. USA apparently owns 207,000. There's been some stuff going on about that. But yeah, apparently they own 207,000. China owns 194,000. UK 61. But half these stuff has been confiscated. Bhutan's the only one that's been mining, I believe. Ukraine, I don't even know how they got theirs, right? Bhutan's been mining this. That's interesting. El Salvador, obviously, there is legal tender there. So the president's been buying 1 Bitcoin per day, lol. Epic. That's a legend status, in my opinion. Finland, yeah. Germany's... who made this website? Do you know what? I need to give credits to whoever made this. I haven't actually researched who's actually made this website, but it's Germany. This guy's funny because why? Germany had 50,000 and they sold it. Insane. Did they do good for their people? It's upsetting if I think about it because they're making their citizens poor. Anyways, many major governments don't own any Bitcoin. Governments like France, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, and many other large economies don't appear on the list yet. Over time, they will, though. What about businesses, right? There are approximately 359 million companies worldwide. What if each business wanted to own some Bitcoin, right? 21 million divided by 359 million is 0.058, so that's 5,800,000 sats that they can own. Okay? That's crazy. That's it. So why? I'll come to why I'm actually talking about all this because it's pretty insane. So MicroStrategy owns 506,000. I don't. But is that up to date? That's very interesting. Let's quickly go on to Strategy's website. Let me just refresh that because. Yeah, fine. No, so that's not up to date. Interesting enough. So they actually own 629,000 when I filmed this video, right? 629,000 sats. Sorry, Bitcoin. So that's interesting. Why isn't this updated? Sorry, I need to refresh it a bit because I need up to date info, right? Okay, this isn't updating. So even with these statistics, this is decreased. That means that's already decreased by number. Okay, because realistically, MicroStrategy already owns 123,000 more. That's insane. This is so much Bitcoin that's being accumulated and just gobbled up by these corporates. Okay, that you can't own. You're never going to be able to own these again. That's something that you need to think about for your future generations. Forget you. Forget me. Who cares about us? It's about the future. It's about people. It's about civilization. It's about humanity. You guys already know me if you've watched my video and stuff. I don't like society being poor. I want everybody to be happy. This is me. I want everybody to be able to eat, be able to survive, be able to just live their life, a decent life, right? I don't care about lavish stuff, this and that. Yeah, fair enough, that's a luxury, but realistically, I just want everybody to have something that's sufficient for them. And sadly, in the world, it's not like that. Yeah, that's why I'm always promoting Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin is the solution. Okay, anyways, yes, MicroStrategy has more Bitcoin than the US and China's government combined. Okay, US small businesses, there's 33 million small businesses. Per business can own 636, so 63 million, 0.6 sats, yeah? 63,600,000 sats. That's not even 1 Bitcoin, you need to understand that. If you're a Wholecoiner, you own more than how much a business can own like this. If you're a Wholecoiner, what if you're a multi-Wholecoiner, right? You have 5, 10, 15, 20 Bitcoin. How much wealth is that? Right now, yeah, 20 Bitcoins, 20 million? Let's just say. Yeah, wow, 20 million. That's going to become 200 million, 2 billion, 20 billion. That's just how it's going to happen, naturally, over time. Why? Because they just keep printing money. And fiat has no bottom, so Bitcoin has no top. Okay, that's the fact. Because every country just print money. That's what they do. We work hard, and they just think, you know what, let me just print money. Let him work hard. Okay, but I'll use my money. It's insanity when you think about it. Anyways, businesses are just beginning to adopt Bitcoin. Yeah, this is a new thing. Like over the last 2 years, so many businesses have, right? What about physical assets? Let's compare Bitcoin to land and real estate. Bitcoin versus land mass. Do you know what? I'm going to have to make more of these videos like per year or per 6 to 8 months. Depends on what the Bitcoin price is at, right? Because it becomes insane when you think about these statistics here. There are approximately 148 million square kilometers of land on Earth. That's 36,556 million acres. How much would 1 acre of land be in Bitcoin? So let's do the division there. 1 acre would only be, what's that? 57,000 sats. Yeah? 10 million, 1 million, 100,000, 50. 7,000 sats. Sorry, 10 million, 1 million, 100,000. Yeah, 57,000. Sorry, I just want to get this correct for you. I don't want to inflate or anything. Because 57,000 sats, that's nothing. Because there's 8 decimals after, right? So that's what you need to think about here. So 8 and that 4 would be 1,000, right? So 7,000, 57,000 sats. That's per acre of land. How much does an acre cost you right now? A couple of 100,000. If you're in the UK, a couple of 100,000. Okay, to own an acre of land, unless you go really up north and stuff. I live in London, well, right next to London and stuff. So, anywho, 1 Bitcoin. So it's showing you here. Central Park is 843 acres. That's a little over. So 1 Bitcoin, 2 Central Parks you can own. Park, sorry. That's insane. 1 Bitcoin. Get to 1 Bitcoin. Yeah. If you're 30, yeah, 30 in your 30s, get to 1 Bitcoin. Yeah. And what I do need to put here, just so you're aware, there's no financial advice. I'm no tax advisor, no legal advisor, no advisor of such, but just get to 1 Bitcoin. Yeah. Let's put it this way, Bitcoin changes lives. I can tell you that from experience. So, what 1 Bitcoin represents? 2.7 square miles. That's insane, as I just said. Bitcoin versus commercial real estate. There are approximately 300 billion square feet of commercial real estate worldwide. How much would a square feet of commercial real estate, how much is it basically? 300 billion square feet. That's what now? 7,000 sats. 10 million. 1 million, 100,000, 10,000, 7,000 sats per square feet. 1 Bitcoin is 14,285 square feet of commercial real estate. That's enough for a small office building or retail store. 192 Bitcoin at 2.7 million square feet. The Empire State Building would be only 192 Bitcoin. That's it. That's insane. This is why when Michael Saylor says that you're basically buying, if it's basically like buying Manhattan in the 1900s, right? Because that's how early we are to buying Bitcoin or doing this. So office space, commercial office, there's 35%, retail 25%, warehouse 20%, industrial and other 5%. It's just crazy. Bitcoin versus housing units. This is something that's interesting. This always comes up. There are approximately 2.3 billion housing units in the world. If we assigned 1 Bitcoin to each housing unit, 2.3 billion, right? That's what? 900,000 sats per house. So you know when people are like, I don't know if you've seen these around, there's these pictures of sold 0.01 Bitcoin. Look, per house. 0.009. 0.01 is 1 million sats. This is 900,000 sats. Which means realistically 0.01 Bitcoin can potentially buy you a house. When? Well, when is a thing. It's not, obviously not right now, but certainly in the future. That's what I believe anyways. So flipping the perspective, 1 Bitcoin kills 111 houses. So why would you invest in real estate? There's only one purpose of investing in real estate. Okay? And this is, as you already know, right, I can't really call myself a Bitcoin maxi because I haven't put everything into Bitcoin. Why? I like experimenting with things. I want to live my life. It's not about just money for me, okay? I enjoy doing things. So, obviously Bitcoin, majority, yeah? But real estate, the only time I would say to keep money in real estate is if you're basically buying and selling. That's it. Why? There's you can just accumulate and something fun to do, keeps you busy, this and that. With Bitcoin, if you just want to hodl, that's the way forward. Hodling wins. Okay? But Yeah, real estate. I wouldn't really say keep real estate for the appreciation. Oh, that'll make you rich. No. If you're gaining some sort of cash flow from real estate, cool. Yeah, why not? They'll fund your lifestyle. Bitcoin, yeah, you can sell bits and do that. But I see it as there's bear markets, this and that. Just accumulate and throw back into Bitcoin when you want. Yeah. But but just make sure, this is a strategy I go for anyway. I make sure Bitcoin is the top, and then all the others trickle down, because I want to do other things. It's not about, oh yeah, I just believe in Bitcoin and I just want my wealth to be in that and that's it. I like doing other things, and I'm going to be dead soon. Okay, we're all going to die. If we're lucky, we'll get up to the age of 60, 70. My genes are okay in the, if Allah Azza wa Jal wills, like my genes, like my grandparents stuff lived up to a good long age. So inshallah, I can as well. But I don't know, I can die right now. Does that make sense? Obviously, I'm not trying to be pessimistic here or make anybody upset, lol. But that's the truth, right? We need to understand that we're here temporarily, and it's about doing stuff in life as well, and for people, yeah, for helping people out. But anyways, let's go into this. It's just 111 housing units there. That's enough homes for an entire neighborhood or a small village. You can basically own that just by one Bitcoin. What if you get multiple? People ain't thinking about that. People are worried, oh, 100,000 sats. That's like, oh yeah, it's just, oh yeah, that's not a Bitcoin, but it doesn't matter. You keep accumulating, and then that's how you gain wealth. And it's Bitcoin versus cars, 1.4 billion cars. That's 1.5 million sats per car. It's just crazy. That's nothing. Yeah. Flipping the perspective. 66 cars is one Bitcoin. Now you need to think about, why is it per house? This is interesting. One Bitcoin is 111 houses, but why is one Bitcoin only 66 cars? That's because of how many cars there are in the world. Yeah? That's not how much a Bitcoin fiat conversion value is. That's what you need to think about here. This isn't even about fiat. It's about owning assets. Okay? Cars are obviously depreciating unless they're very unique and limited, like the LaFerrari and stuff like this. But yeah, it's something to think about. What about other commodities? Gold, silver, oil. So for gold, 6.95 billion gold ounces there are. That's 300,000 per ounce. One Bitcoin is 333 ounces of gold, 10 kg of gold per Bitcoin. That's insane. These stats are amazing. So silver, 1.75 million metric tons there are, and 1.2 million sats per ton. One Bitcoin is 83 kg of silver. That's crazy. So 10 kg of Bitcoin, so 10 kg of gold, 83 kg of silver. For oil, 1.57 trillion barrels of oil. Wow. Okay, that's what? Million, 100,000, 10,000, 1,300 sats per barrel. 75,000 barrels of oil is one Bitcoin. Think, just have a think about what I'm saying here. This website is amazing. You should just go onto it randomly and just look at it when the prices change. That's just the big stuff. What about, we didn't even include all of these and much more. Yeah, when they say that, it's like clothing, jewelry, art, everything basically in life that you can basically buy with Bitcoin. The power of one Bitcoin is not just one thing into Bitcoin, it's everything into Bitcoin. That's the Bitcoin standard, yeah? So everything goes into Bitcoin. It's not about how much Bitcoin's worth in fiat value. It's about what Bitcoin can get you because of Bitcoin value. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. It doesn't matter about fiat. $116,000 now. Who cares? Who cares about dollars? Who cares about fiat? It's about the Bitcoin standard. Yeah, it's about Bitcoin, how much you would spend a Bitcoin for and what you can gain from that. Okay? Anywho, as we know, there's a fixed supply of only 21 million Bitcoin in the world. So, it's just something to think about. I'm basically going to make this into a series because I find this very, very interesting. Because over time, my research project, right, if you don't already know that about that, please do check out my research project of where I'm putting in £100 or equivalent into Bitcoin to see if it's better than basically a pension. if I put in £100 worth of Bitcoin and accumulate that dollar cost average per month for the next 10 years, would it outpace a pension? Or how much would it basically end up being, right? Because it's something to think about, especially in this day and age. People don't really understand Bitcoin. If you don't, lucky for you. I'm also a crypto asset consultant, mainly regarding Bitcoin. I don't really delve into other crypto assets and go into them. I research them myself. I've got my whole portfolio, which you can see on my website and everything. However, if you're new to Bitcoin, if you're new to this whole space and you need help, all my videos on YouTube are for free. Go check out all my YouTube videos. If you still are struggling, you need something more specific, book a consultation with me. I do 15-minute consultation, 30-minute and 1 hour. And then I also have so many workshops to help you start accumulating. That's the main thing. I don't provide no financial advice, no legal or tax advice, obviously. However, because I've got so much experience in this, I've done so much in this. I've got, since 2017, I've been in this space, right? You can use my time to benefit you. Do a quick crash course just to understand, to get started and not to lag behind. I had to pause that for a second because I started having a coughing fit. I've been talking too much, not drinking any water. Anyways, please do consider subscribing to my channel and do share this video if you do enjoy this video. And lastly, let's not forget, together, let's break free from the shackles of modern slavery. I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.